Welcome to episode 135 of Closer Mentality. I'm your host, Julia Mellett. Before we begin and I introduce you to this week's guest, I want to pose a question. If you had only 2 months to train for a race, how far could you end up running? A 5K maybe? A half marathon? A full marathon? I don't know you, but my answer definitely would not be 10 consecutive Ironman distance triathlons in 10 days across 6 Hawaiian islands. Today's guest, JD Tremblay, doesn't agree. Tremblay, whose background is in engineering, thinks of determination as a facet of a system. If A, then B, a math equation that equals success. It's one thing to be able to coax determination and drive out of yourself, though. It's another to require those character traits like breathing. A thrill seeker, Tremblay wanted to learn exactly how to push himself. He joined the Canadian military at 17 years old and spent more than a decade as a professional engineer. If he could learn how to enhance and streamline patterns, structures, and military equipment, he realized that the same could be done with human performance.
I had practical tools. So I had the military background where everything was physical and not much was, you're not using your brain that much when you're in the military. You're basically following orders, whether you are an officer or whether you are a non-commissioned member. And then when you transition to to university and to college, it was only brain and nothing. I was going to the gym and I was the only one in my class going to the gym. So there was some discrepancies there. And I knew that I thought it was completely different and I just needed to focus on schooling until I figured out, well, I remember I felt much better. And so it wasn't just a feeling. I understood the patterns. And so what many people are missing in school is they're teaching you patterns. That's what they're teaching you. And that's whatever you're going to pick up. You can pick up even a degree as open as diversity or women's studies, or there's still a pattern. So they're teaching you about a pattern. And it's up to you to think critically and to challenge that system. So if you are able to challenge that system, which to me, I think that was my strength. I was always challenging systems all the time. I did not fit well in a military environment. But when I got to school, then I was able to think critically. And when I looked at certain equations, they just did not make sense. Or when we had certain homework, a lot of the engineers would do all the calculations and focus on getting the answer completely right. And I would look at things in a completely different way. For me, I would just look at, well, does it make sense? Yes or no? Can I use it? Yes or no? And I think that's where a lot of engineers are failing at their job, in essence, is because the difference between a scientist and an engineer is that, generally speaking, the engineer would make things happen. And you need to make something. You need to create something, right? You need to take these equations and create something. And a lot of the schools are only teaching about the equation. So I did not think like this until I started creating these systems and understanding it myself at the practical level.
Tremblay realized that he could transpose those systems of success onto everything he did, and he set to work optimizing his own performance. His military training had conditioned him, but Tremblay couldn't get enough. He started doing ultra marathons, running hundreds of miles to pace and push himself. Training became a religious experience. He monitored his caloric intake, his exercise, his sleep, any metric he could conceivably improve. That's when a Herculean feat of an opportunity presented itself. The Epic Deca, a once-in-a-lifetime race. 10 Ironman triathlons, 10 days, 6 Hawaiian islands, swim, bike, run, 10 qualifiers in the entire world, and Tremblay wanted to be one of them. The Epic Deca commemorated the 10-year anniversary of the Epic 5 days of 5 Ironman triathlons on 5 Hawaiian islands. May 2022, 10 ultra athletes and their support teams would converge on Hawaii to string together 1,406 total miles of ultimate exertion. In February 2022, following a harrowing accident, Tremblay's ultra mentor was unable to race in the Epic Deca. He reached out to the ultra world, hoping to find a last-minute replacement.
Okay, the real answer is 2 months before the Epic.
2 months?
Yeah. February, yeah, March, April, May, yeah, maybe 3, yeah. Yeah, 3 months before, yeah. Yeah, I was not registered for the Epic Deca. So it's a Epic 5 brand does it every year. There's about 45, give or take, people that did this right now. 5 Ironman, 5 Ireland, 5 days. But what happened is during their 10-year anniversary, they had an Epic Deca. So the Epic Deca stands for 10. They built the Epic Deca. 10 athletes registered. And for me, I was already into the ultra world. And I was following this guy called Joe Jave, who was a doctor in New York at the time. And he was one of the 10 registered at the Epic Deca. In November, he got hit by a car. Just bam. He's riding his bike at an event, gets hit by a car, and now he has to learn back how to walk, and he has to do physio and go through all. So he doesn't take the decision right away. He puts it on Facebook only. It was the end of January, middle of January, end of January. He posts on Facebook, and I follow him. I follow the guys that are doing ultra. I try to learn about new ways of optimizing my performance, and I love learning, right? So I'm a huge nerd. I love, like, oh yeah, on Friday nights I'm reading medical documents and research, and I love learning. Okay, hands day, hunger for more in life, or the Hungry Warrior Academy, right? I love learning about people's stories. And so now I'm following this guy, Joe J. If he puts it on Facebook, and there's this voice in my head, and I'm a Christian, so I always question these voices, right? If they fit with your values. And a voice in my head that says, well, how about you ask him? Ask him about the Epic Deca, if you can take his seat. And me being me, I question the voice. I say, I don't even have the money. The registration was $10,000 US, which to me in currency is give or take, $15,000. I don't have $15,000 just laying around. So I reached out to him anyway. And I said, can I buy it? Because again, if I don't know if he's going to say yes, then there's no point in reminiscing on it. And I think there's a lot of people that have behavioral addictions, not necessarily drug or alcohol, but they have these behavioral addictions because they numbed a flame, or they missed out on an opportunity. They saw a beautiful girl and they were supposed to ask her out, but they didn't because they had fear of rejection. And then eventually it led to marrying somebody else and going through all of these problems and saying, I had my shot, I'm sure of it, right? Or I had my shot at, well, for me, it was the Epic Deca. So I said, well, I'll just ask. It doesn't cost anything. And he said, yes, I'll talk to the organizer. The organizer said, yes, you're able to, you're like a fast guy, an Ironman. That's fine, go ahead. Okay. So then I went to prayer. Then I said, well, God, you're going to have to do something because I don't have $15,000 hanging around. I was $20,000 in debt. And I'm taking care of a child. Like, I'm a single dad in the northern part of, well, at that time, I was in the northern part of Quebec.
A logistical nightmare was afoot for Tremblay.
$15,000 that I need. That's just the registration, by the way. Then I'm $20,000 in debt. And then so I have to fly 4 people all the way to Hawaii. I have to pay for their food, pay for their lodging, pay for their flight, pay for any type of equipment, test that equipment, have all of the training at the last minute. I have to prepare all of this, and I'm a single dad in the northern part of Quebec in the snow. I can't swim. The pools were closed at that time. So I can't do one of the 3 disciplines that somehow I'm supposed to do 10 times. And I'm already registered for like over 20 races. And I paid for the registration of all the other races. But somehow, yeah. So I prayed to God. And full disclaimer, please don't do this at home. But I guess I did not have a house. But now I'm doing fine. I have a house and I'm doing very well financially, but so I sold my house. Yep. So I sold my house. I wanted to do the Epic Deca. So I did. I had 2 offers, and I made enough money to survive for that race. And so I said, okay, well, thank God, now I have the money. So I told God, well, I need 4 people to get me to be in Hawaii, and they need to understand ultra endurance event and how to crew. And 4 people. I reached out to a lot of people. And a lot of people, I was very surprised. I was very, very surprised that a lot of people, I reached out to them and say, I'm paying for 2 weeks in Hawaii, like food, flight, everything paid. And people would say no. I was very surprised about that. But I see it now as protection God was putting, because these people would have not been ready. Even my dad, I reached out to him and he said, JD, I can't help you, right? Even financially, like my mom could not help me. My dad could not help me. My mom and my dad, we grew up very, I say poor, but we're not talking about third world country. We still had like a pool in the backyard, but we were not eating the best food, right? We were eating oatmeal on Sundays, and we had to count our pieces of bread, slices of bread, and so 4 kids, 1 income. So it was, but we never lacked of anything. Yeah, I had some pretty decent parents, but they were not able to help me financially. So it was all on me. That's it. Thank God.
Aside from the humbling entry fee and staggering race gear costs, he also had to travel, feed, and lodge 4 support staffers in Hawaii for the 1.5-week-long event.
So when I was at the Epic Deca and I was in Texas, at that moment, what do I need? I need a swim coach, I need a run coach, I need a cycling coach, and I need a triathlon coach, right? Or I need at least a triathlon coach. I ended up with a cycling coach, a swimming coach, and since I was already, I understood in the military that my feet, there was a lot of pounding. I focused more on the cycling and the swimming portion because I understood that my body could be injured. So I pushed aside a lot of the running, and I did a lot more cycling. So I had a swimming coach, a cycling coach, and a triathlon coach who oversaw my whole dynamic. So it was not just one coach. I found 4 people, amazing people. We flew to Hawaii, And then I started. Well, for me, I flew to Texas first because I had two Ironmen. I was already registered. One was at the beginning in Texas, and at the end there was another one in Woodland at the end of April. So I did those, and the way I looked at it was more of the scientific method. Again, engineering. I took and I said, well, what you need at first is a plan. And the plan is pretty much, I'm going to do the Epic Deca. That's the plan. And then the strategy became, well, now how am I going to accomplish each task? So for the swimming, well, I changed the angle of the sticks of my poles when I would climb mountains. So I would activate the same muscle group as I'm climbing. So I would not have to swim, but then I'm all like my muscles are ready for swimming. And I was already that's my strength anyway, to swim, so I wasn't too worried. And then I saw the prototype, so I built. I went on Kijiji or like a platform like Facebook Marketplace. I bought a bike and I renovated the whole bike. I learned about biomechanic. I just changed all the parts. I kept only the frame. I changed everything, all the braking system and everything that I needed. Then I built this. So it became my prototype. But now I needed to test it. But I can't test it outside because there's snow everywhere right now because it's February in the northern part of Quebec and minus 30. I'm running and there is frozen ski goggles and I'm running a 10K with 2-3 jackets. So I flew to Texas and used these two Ironmen to like a half and a full as a prototype race. So I would not race them. It would only be for fun. I would be meeting people and waving at them, and I would not be going fast. I would just be testing my equipment. Is it comfortable? Am I missing anything? Am I missing anything in my nutrition, in my training, in my mindset? What am I missing that I need in the Epic Deca? The Epic Deca is the challenge. Then I flew to Hawaii. My crew met me over there. I arrived early to acclimatize, get a bit of a tan too. And then I got to Hawaii, and then I started. So that's a bit of the setting for the Epic Deca. Yeah, I'm that type of guy.
Tremblay laughs when he calls himself that type of guy. The type of guy who trains for Ironman triathlons with other Ironman triathlons.
Because to get to the Epic Deca, I used just as testing 2 Ironmen. Okay, so I did a half Ironman in Galveston, then I did a full Ironman in Woodland, then I flew to Hawaii, and so I spent a month in Texas, then I flew to Hawaii, then I did the 10 Ironman. Since it's 10 days, the only person that had to be up during the race is this guy, yours truly. So the way we evaluated the situation is I said 2 people on, 2 people off. So one day is going to be 2 people, and then 2 people for the next day. And then we'll just alternate and go all the way to 10 like this. The crew members would take care of carrying my bags. They would take care of preparing all of my nutrition, which was very precise. They would prepare ice buckets for my feet to go in there because my feet were swollen after not even the 3rd Ironman. My feet would not even fit in my shoes. So they would prepare this. They would go and get the rental cars. They would go and enter into, they would book in or check in into the hotel, check out at the hotel. And to do so, then they had credit cards. So I gave them each a credit card to book everything. So everything was under my name, but they were the ones that had access to my money. They had access to, they had my life in their hands. That's the way I see it. They were the one coordinating between the organizers and me. They were the ones doing all the social media, getting all the food, because sometimes you get some cravings and you want to get a special item. And so the crew just know, well, JD really likes this, but we're on an island and it's right now half an hour away and he's cycling. So they would leave, go get me a smoothie, which is refreshing. And I would come back, and then while you're cycling, I'm drinking a smoothie in Hawaii. Like, to me, I saw it as I'm enjoying life. I'm enjoying Hawaii. It was better. I could be on the beach just laying out and getting a tan, or I could be swimming, biking, and running all of Hawaii and enjoying the scenery, the quiet. They had to deal with social media posts. That's what they did. My food. So my food was calculated. I brought my food with me. So not just the nutrition part, but the food also. They had my passport, and they were following me. So it's like a leapfrog. So if I'm, say, cycling, they would go behind me, and then they would go in front of me, and then wait, go outside, hand me whatever I want, and then I would pass, and then they would come back, and they would go really, really far, wait for me, and then because they're not going to shut down the entire island just for 10 people to race. So we had cars passing by us. We had people. Molokai was the worst. We had people throw liquids at us in containers. A guy was running after us with machetes. He was just because it was. So they did not want any tourists, but we already had the approval, like not us, but I mean the organizer already had the approval to get onto the island. So a lot of the locals were not excited or thrilled to see us arrive and start racing. And it was that pandemic part. So Molokai was one of the last place on earth that had a case. So you're not too keen about seeing tourists who might bring something onto your island, right? Many people thought that they would catch it if we went in. So I can understand their standpoint, and we had to deal with the situation. That's it. Which is pedal faster, JD. That's it. So
of the 10 competitors, Tremblay became one of 3 finishers, cementing his name in Ironman history. Tremblay and his team had optimized the mental and physical performance specifically to complete the Epic Deca. And he now had proven what his body was capable of.
So now I have about 12 Ironman in my system. Okay? And an Ironman is 140.6 miles of swimming, biking, and running. So you time that by 12. Then I have this in my system. I go back to the coach, and right away I get in the pool and I start working out. And the coach, he looks at me and says, JD, I've seen athletes like you. Very often, here's what happened. They do these large events and they're never able to recover. They crash, they're never able to recover. And that's when a light bulb went in my head. Obviously, there was the other one that went on. So there was kind of like 2 light bulbs. One of them said, well, you have no limit, like you asked. And then the other one is saying, well, question this. Question your mind, because now it's telling you you have no limits. So be careful. And I was already at a stage where I was wearing sandals because no shoes would fit. My face is burned. My IT bands were so tight. After the fourth day, I'm in a wheelchair. So I still finished the event, but to get from the airport all the way to your flight, you're in a wheelchair, all burned, in a hoodie. Someone stole your pants. You're in your underwear. You're looking at everybody and you're going, yeah, I'm going to finish. So that's part of that's part of the Epic Deca. I think, well, I get to the finish line, get to Texas. Coach tells me that, and he says, JD, you're not allowed in the pool. Please just leave, get out of the pool. He's like, you're allowed to do 1 or 2 lanes or do the 400 meters, but just leave after. Please don't do the workout. I know you can, but please just leave after. Because and there was another part as well. It was for the other people, because I think it hurts a lot of people. I always tell because there is another human, right, David Goggins. He does these kind of feat. I think he's amazing at getting people through the door into ultras, into the world of get out of bed and do something with your life. But as a response to longevity, that's not appropriate. Everyone has their limits, even him. We've seen it right now with his last year racing, and it's not doing so well on that side, right? So I would say, for longevity reason, please don't follow these systems. And for me, I thought, yeah, I'm invincible, but I was challenging it. I did a lot of other races, and eventually I came to a point where I said, okay, I'm going to do something else. Like, this is, but my body had to tell me, this is enough, JD. Like, this is, so it was my body that had to tell me, this is enough. You are, it was the first time that I was taking Coca-Cola for a race. So I was fueling, but improperly. I was in a state of mind where I was seeking all of the hard chemicals for my system to make it at peak performance, and that was that part was unhealthy. And when I was able to, like I said at the beginning, when you're able to recognize this pattern, when you're able to recognize this is the end, the other side is dying, breaking your system, breaking your body. Or the ultimate part is your heart could stop. Right? So to me, I said, yeah, I'm gonna stop doing any physical event.
Is something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Regardless of if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a human in this world going through a hard time, therapy can give you the tools to approach your life in a positive way. That's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. This is an important mission because finding a therapist can be really hard, especially when you're limited to the options just in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up and get matched with a therapist. If this sounds like something that could help you, there's a link in the show notes to get you started on your therapy journey. It's betterhelp.com/closer mentality. Clicking that link helps support this channel, but it also gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp. Because finding a therapist is a little like dating. If you don't really fit with the therapist matched with you, it's easy and free to switch therapists without stressing about insurance, who's in your network, or anything like that. So if you're struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/closer mentality. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/closer mentality. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this channel. Did you know that you can purchase audiobooks directly from your favorite local bookstore? With Libro FM, you can pick from more than 325,000 audiobooks, including bestsellers and recommendations from real booksellers. You'll get the same audiobooks at the same price as the largest audiobook company out there, you know the name. But you'll be part of a different story, one that supports your local community. If you're new to audiobooks, they're the perfect way to squeeze more reading into your busy life. Listen with the free Libro FM app while you do chores, walk the dog, or relax at home. If you already love audiobooks and don't know what to listen to next, check out recommendations from the people who know best, booksellers. Closer Mentality has partnered with Libro FM on a special offer. Through the link in the show notes, you can get 2 audiobooks on Libro FM for the price of 1. Offer only valid for new members in Canada and the US. Thanks to Libro FM for sponsoring this podcast. Tremblay had completely altered his perception of his capabilities, and the high of completing the Epic Deca suddenly wasn't even enough. What came next? He wrote a book, Hunger for More in Life, about defying limitations and conquering mental struggles, while in his personal life, the thrill-seeking continued.
And I flew to Florida, and I couldn't stop. Like, I wanted to, so I took flight lessons. I went to learn how to fly a plane. So I just changed my mind to do something else. And I brought my kid along. He enjoyed his time to a certain degree because he was not into planes at that time. But I changed it. I now looking back, and it helped me because when I wrote my book, I included a full chapter about recovery methods, and now I'm a huge advocate of helping people slow down and recover instead of always pushing. Because a lot of people started reaching out to me saying, how did you do this? Like, we want to know about your nutrition, we want to know about the mindset. And I had no idea how I did it. It was, to me, it was it was really, for me, it was natural. I had this morphology that was created over time. I had this, not only the physique, but I had the mindset that was created. And I had even the system. I had over, I think it was 29 pages around there created, where my crew knew exactly how I would react in any type of situation. If I lack sugar, here's how I will react. Here, if I lack sodium or any type of electrolyte, this is how I will react. Not just the general form, but really, it was really in detail. Like, what is my favorite candy, or my favorite, like the favorite topic that I want to talk about if I'm going through a mental breakdown, or if something happens, like what will happen. So, and then the no quitting was definitely in there. So definitely it was, yeah. So it was after, it was when I wrote my book. That's when I started realizing, oh, that's what I did. Oh yeah, and I did this here and here and here. Okay, and that, it was through writing my book.
After conquering his mental and physical demons and setting forth successful systems, Tremblay finally felt as though he had a pedestal from which to preach.
But when you train, when you begin with these systems in place, then the mindset comes. Because I did not have that mindset when I was even in the military, or even before. I was the kind of guy who was, now my dog tags are on the wall, but these metal chain around your neck that says I'm a Christian, and if I die, I want to be buried, or a priest, or a guy that is a pastor, and that's Christianity. That was Christianity for me when I was in the military. So, and I thought I was a Christian. Everybody saw me as wow, this guy doesn't drink. This guy, the parties, not so much. So I thought I was very serious, until now you build this mindset around it. or even the Bible talks about renew your mind. So your mind renews every single day. But once you build these systems and you go about it, which for Christians is supposed to be the Bible, right? When you build these systems, these Bibles, these mini Bibles for yourself. For example, well, I need to meditate every day, or I need to kiss my son every single day. That's it. Right? That's so. There you go. You build these system in place, and then the mindset comes with it. Eventually, if once you build this framework, then you're looking at doing a 5K and you will understand. And I guarantee you, anybody that's done a 5K will understand. Well, here's a 10K. Well, I'm sure that I can do more. And then they go into a 10K. Then they maybe go into a half marathon. And maybe they never get to the Ironman. Maybe they never get to the marathon. But at least it will change their mindset. It will alter something in their brain where now they are more, and even in their physiology, they will understand that they're capable of doing much more than what they previously were able to. So that's so I would say the system comes first before building, and that's why I mentioned values before even getting into a goal. First, create your set of values. If you have a set of values, then you can create a system, and then you have your goals, because your goals should, or your values should precede your goals. So many coaches say your goals should be first, and then they just say, well, you'll figure it out. But if you do this, then you end up essentially going into a major and trying to figure out yourself in the process. But if you already have a system, like a set of values in place, then at least you have some grounds to stand on when you don't want to perform certain behaviors or think a certain way. And that can lead to a more prosperous life and healthier behaviors, definitely. So that's how you create a system.
Are you an athlete rehabbing from an injury? Are you a coach or athletic trainer seeking additional support for your injured athlete toolkits? KT Tape has exactly what you need. KT Tape is a rehabilitation tape that helps stabilize and compress sensitive areas of the body during exercise. Apply KT Tape to an area either in pain or in recovery and feel the difference. KT Tape is comfortable, stable, and long-wearing. There's tape for all modes of action, from gentle, which is safe for easy activity and everyday use, to Pro Extreme, for athletes in moderate to high-impact exercise. KT Tape makes water-resistant tape as well for a more adaptable rehabilitation implementation. KT Tape caters to lifelong athletes and focuses on reducing muscle soreness for all users when worn during exercise and up to 48 hours post. Are you an athlete in need of prescription sports goggles or sunglasses? Today's final sponsor may have just the solution for you. A Sight for Sport Eyes was created when founder Shannon Knight saw a niche that was perpetually going unfulfilled. A Sight for Sport Eyes grew out of a need for education surrounding the impact of sport-related eye injuries and their lasting repercussions. A Sight for Sport Eyes runs like a regular optical practice, not an e-commerce store. Their goal is to give you the same high-quality service and name-brand lenses made by the best optical laboratories in the country, geared specifically for athletes and athletic use cases. If you need new lenses or frames, A Sight for Sport Eyes is the perfect place to get them. The links to BetterHelp.com, Libro FM, KT Tape, and A Sight for Sport Eyes are all in the show notes. Now, let's get back to the episode.
There's nothing special about me, like at all. Like I naturally am gifted in terms of endurance sport, but in terms of other sports like lifting cars or lifting heavy loads, I'm not the elite. So I would say find what you're good at and then develop those systems for yourself so that you can achieve certain things. Because right now it's the best time in all of society. It's the best time to upgrade. It's the best time. Forget about presidents and economies and all of that. It's the best time to upgrade. The bar is extremely low in terms of everybody, men, women. The bar is very low to do anything in life you want to become. The bar is it's extremely low. So yeah, so, so work on these systems, and don't think that JD is up here and I will never be able to achieve what he is. Over time, I did not do the Epic Deca overnight. I trained for it, and eventually it led to something that now people are able to see as an inspiration to get off the couch and do it in a healthy way.
If you'd like to follow along with JD's journey, you can find more information on his website, www.hungerformore.com. The link to that is in the show notes. If you'd like to watch JD and I's full interview, you can watch that at the Closer Mentality Uncensored YouTube channel. The link to that is also in the show notes. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 135 of Closer Mentality. As always, I'm your host, Julia Mellett. See you next week.